You guys had a good weekend, and happy Valentine's Day in advance since I won't see you guys tomorrow. And shout out to my replay crew. I am so happy that you guys choose to spend any of your time with me, and I appreciate it all so much. So, how is everybody? Hey, Lorna. Hey, Lindsay. How are you? I just remembered right now as I was like literally hitting live that I have microphones. Because when I unpackaged them, Whitney ruined one of them, and then I put it back together, and then I hid them in a drawer so she wouldn't mess with them, and completely forgot that I have them, so we'll use them next time. But I was just like, I forgot. After I spent so long trying to find microphones that were supposed to be good and still decent price. So, hey Lorna, hey Lindsay, hey Caitlin, hey Raina, hey Sissy Barbie, hey Preston, hey Ethereal Batty, hey Melina, hey Elijah, hey Mimi, hey Sana. What is that green bottle on the side? It is Topo Chico. We know that you're just passing by, Preston, but we're glad that you stopped by. Hey, Madeline. Oh, thank you. I didn't really do anything different. I didn't really do my hair very much, and maybe I'm hot. Maybe that's why I'm glowing, because it was cold when I put the sweater on, and then like I'm kind of regretting it now. By the end of this video, I might be really glowing if I get too hot. So, how is everybody though? How are you doing? These are really good if you're like craving like a Corona or some kind of like beer with like lime and salt in it, but you don't want to drink a beer and get all the like alcohol or carbs. That's when I like this. So we just started Lexington. It's the middle part. You love it? Oh, okay. I was like, wait, I have a side part today though. You're so happy you got to skip work. Hey, Robin, I'm glad you made it, babe. So it's like seltzer water, where it's carbonated mineral water with a twist of lime. So they're from Mexico. Like I always get these from the taco truck or like Mexican restaurants when I don't want like a soda, because I don't have a super big sweet tooth in general anyways. So while I do like, you know, Mexican Coke and Mexican Sprite more, it's still too sweet for me, because I usually, if I do drink soda, and I know it's horrible, but I always drink diet soda because I drink my coffee like just with milk or cream in it. Like I don't like sweet drinks. I have to really super be in the mood for it. So I usually get these, so I have something that's like bubbly but not overly sweet when I'm eating my tacos. They're so good after you eat spicy food. And you know what I was thinking about too? Honestly, this would be good with Caribbean food. Like if you didn't have ginger beer or you didn't want to drink a ginger beer, it's like this would be good with Caribbean food too. I love ginger beer. I drink ginger beer a lot too. Like ginger ale and ginger beer is like the only soda that I like. Really. And I know people complain about like the McDonald's Sprite because it's like nuclear and it's not as sweet as like regular Sprite. That's the only place that I want Sprite from. Like I want it to be like burn your nostrils with all the carbonation. Pineapple ginger beer is good. I haven't ever tried that. I'm gonna have to check that out next time. That's where all your dining dollars go. Aww. Well, I'm glad you guys like my hair. Thank you. I literally just did it like super duper fast, and I have a blow dryer brush, and I literally have never used it because I bought it and then I got scared because everybody said it like ruins your hair. And I kind of used it once on my bangs, but it was like too big for my bangs. I needed like the smaller one, so I actually used it today for the first time. So I don't think I'll use it very often because I've seen lots of horror stories like of people saying it like burned their hair off, but honestly, I just didn't feel like wrestling with the blow dryer and all of my brushes and all of that today. So the ginger beer from Target has a natural ginger taste. Oh, I don't think I've ever tried theirs. I wanted to ask you guys, now that it's been a couple months since we've gotten Pink Friday too, has the songs, like your favorite songs from the album, changed at all? Or what are you like, what song is like your go-to at the moment? Whitney still loves Blessings with Tasha Cobb. Like, I put that song on for her and she literally just sits there like this, just listening to it. Like, it's so funny. She just, like, whatever she's doing, she drops down and closes her eyes and just listens to it. She's like, it brings her peace. Like, she loves that song for some reason. I love it too, but like, Whitney goes to a whole other world when that song is on. So, Pink Friday Girls and Barbie Dangerous still have me in a chokehold. Because the reason why is number one, Barbie Dangerous. Like, for those who know, like, if you know me, like, Biggie and Bone Thugs and Harmony were like my favorite rappers growing up. And on top of it, like, really got me into like love rap and fall in love with it. And so that song, you know, anytime that Nicki like redoes like a Biggie song anyways, like I always get super hyped. But like, that's one of my favorite songs from my two favorite artists that she redid. And then I just loved Cyndi Lauper's music growing up too, because I'm an 80s baby. So it's like she redid two of my like favorite songs that have such good memories of like growing up tied to it for me. So it's like so nostalgic. But do you know what song I keep finding myself listening to so much all of a sudden recently? Is the drill song that she did with 5EO Foreign, We Go Up. Like, I was literally listening to that right before I jumped on live. I know, I want a video for Pink Friday Girls. I want a video for Barbie Dangerous too, because she could like do some shit with that. I love Fallen for You though too. It's a good song. All the songs on the album are like no skips. Except for, I just don't like listening to Drake's voice or Future. But I still will sit through it. But I know a pop artist would be cute for the remix. Who would you guys put on the remix? I know, that's what's crazy. She hasn't put out any music videos. But neither did Beyonce for Renaissance. So, you know, that might be something that we're going to see as more of a trend anyways. And listen, I think that, you know, when Beyonce, when she said, you guys are the visuals, I think it was a double fold thing too when you think about it. It was not just about, oh, you guys are going to be a part of the Renaissance documentary. But I think also because with like all of the TikTok challenges, and obviously people can't no longer do that with certain people's music if it's under the Universal group. But at the time, all of Beyonce's visuals for that era were on TikTok because everybody was doing the different TikTok challenges to it. And so honestly, you know, I would not be surprised if we don't see Universal and TikTok end up working that whole situation out, because it does help so much with the virality and sales and streams of music when people are able to like play it, you know, regardless of whose song it is, and create those viral challenges. And the labels were taking advantage of that because, you know, we've heard here and there that like labels were contacting like the Addison Rays and the Charlie D'Amelios and certain other, you know, sort of bigger creators on those platforms and paying them to create some sort of challenge, you know, to go along with whatever song that their artist was dropping. And that's how Carlos was able to take advantage of a lot of stuff. And we saw that then that got aired out when Offset put out his album. That when people were trying to start drama about like certain IG models, you know, promoting the song and saying, oh, they're trying to show everybody that, you know, they're hooking up with Off Cheat. And then it was like, no, Off Cheat and his label like were paying people to like make reels and TikToks with like the song to promote it. And we don't give a fuck about Off Cheat. So I think that they'll end up, you know, working things out because it's going to end up negatively affecting their bottom line. But I think that also we're probably going to see more and more artists do things like that. And I'm not saying that's what Nicki's doing. I just brought it up in general, you know, because we've been kind of talking about this whole subject with everything that's going on, that we'll see more and more artists either never come out with visuals for a song because it costs so much money, obviously, to do a music video, and probably go more of that route of like, instead of investing in a music video, let's just pay a bunch of creators, you know, to create content with this song to promote it. Or after they get enough return on the investment from having creators make content with that song included, then we get a music video, you know, 3, 4, 5 months later. So, but that's how the shit used to be too, though. Like, honestly, guys, back in the day, sometimes, like, we would have songs that would be out for months before we would finally get a music video for it, because they would test the waters with it on the radio and see, are people responding to this song? Is this the direction that we want to push this artist? And then if it paid off, then it was like, now let's invest in a music video and invest in more making this like that person's sound, at least for this project. So I think we're kind of going back to a little bit more of those old school things. So, yeah, but it would be a big ass deal. We'd have this big ass premiere for the music video, and music videos were like movies sometimes, you know. Michael Jackson really sort of started that with Thriller. But even throughout the 90s and stuff, and even in the early 2000s, like, we would see, like, it would be like a movie, and it would make sense to the song too, you know, because sometimes it's like, some of these music videos that people have been putting out for the past few years, I'm like, what the fuck does this have to do with the song? Like, the song is singing about how good your coochie and your ass is and how you stole somebody's man, but in the video, you're robbing a bank. Like, this does not, the two things don't correlate together, boo-boo. So, or they'll have a song talking about their ops and they're like in bed with rose petals everywhere. I'm like, y'all are just the most confused fucking artists I've ever come across. So, the artistry used to be an all-encompassing thing. And on top of it, you know, they would have eras, and I will give it to Taylor Swift and Lady Gaga that they still have, continued that theme. But people would have eras, and it's like, look at Madonna, or look at Michael, or like, they would change certain things about like their look and the music, and it would all kind of go together. Kanye was somebody that did a lot of that in the beginning too of his career. And then the next album, you have a whole different kind of music and it's a different vibe, and now the artist has like red hair instead of blonde hair like they did last time, or black hair, or they cut all their hair off. Like, it would be like I'm, you know, rising from the ashes as a new phoenix and stuff. But it was really cool and intriguing because you would get excited, like, what are they gonna come back as, and what's the next one gonna be? Rather than, and I would rather see that shit than, okay, here's another album full of pussy and ass music. Talking about the same shit. No artist growth. You still can't write for crap. You're still using the same shitty producers. Like, no thank you. So, yeah, Rihanna was one too. So, Madonna had another accent. Oh, that's so cute, Lindsay. I used to throw temper tantrums when I was a toddler because I wanted to watch Thriller. I'm always like, if baby me would have been in absolute heaven, that like we have everything at our fingertips and on demand right now, and that you can literally just like at any moment of your day pull your phone out and watch whatever music video that you want, even if it's 100 years old. And like, I would have freaking loved that. I would have watched every single Michael Jackson video probably on repeat forever and ever. Like Robot is trying to do with these acts, but it's not working. It's inorganic. Well, yeah, we'll get into that. Nicki too, when she went from Pink Friday to Pink Print, that transition was big. It was, because Nicki is one of those last real true, like, you're an artist but you're also a performer, right? Because Carlos is a performer, but she's not also an artist. There is a difference. Michael Jackson, he was an artist and a performer. Prince, artist and performer, you know? So that's why, like, it was so authentic, and they can just do it because that's just what their personality is leaning into, and it's coming from a place of authenticity. But also, they're actively helping create that era as well, you know? Even though Michael Jackson didn't write all of his music, he still wrote most of his music, even if it was like I wasn't the only songwriter on it, or had some sort of an impact or, you know, participation in it. Prince wrote all of his own stuff and played all of his own instruments, you know? So it's authentic when you are involved in creating it. It's not authentic when 58 people wrote that song for you, hand it to you, somebody else tells you this is where you want to make sure that you hit that high note on this word, and coaches you through all of it. That's not artistry. That is performing. There is a difference. And if people would learn that, they would stop comparing other people to Nicki, to, you know, Doja's one of those people too. Like, I may not like the direction that she's gone in, but she is talented, and she is one of those people that really plays a heavy hand in creating the artistry of what she puts out. Well, let's talk about Beyonce. Okay. First of all, before we get into the reading, I just want to know, how come nobody calls her super slutty grandma? She's on record as being a year older than Nicki, but we all know people have Hollywood ages, so she's far older than she claims to be, like another decade. But you know, she has 3 kids. She has a husband. How come nobody calls her super slutty grandma? Because if Nicki just decided, hey guys, you know, we're going to release one of the songs off the album as a single, and I want y'all to go run it up, and she wore a bikini made out of mirrors, with the one being in the shape of a freaking heart over her crotch, everybody would lose their fucking mind saying, you're married, why do you need all this attention? You're a mother, you're old, you're in your 40s. So why is it that it's not a big deal when Miss Beyonce does it? And we'll just give her credit and say you're older than Nicki. Because she has been extremely over-sexualized over the past few years. And, you know, there was a whole conversation about whether or not Keke Palmer was dressed appropriately, given that she had a man at home. Mind you, every inch of that girl still had a piece of clothing over it. It's just that you could see through that clothing. But what she wore was far tamer than a lot of the stuff that we have seen Beyonce wearing. And nobody is like, oh, she's being disrespectful to her husband when she puts on outfits like that. And for everybody that thinks that her husband is so overly protective of her, why is he letting his wife get smutted out every time that she has something to release? Because y'all can say whatever you want, but if Jay gave a fuck, trust and believe we wouldn't see no fucking mirrors over any fucking crotches. Because look at how much other shit he's made sure doesn't happen in the industry. You know, all the men that can't work with her, all the guys that, you know, all the different stuff that he doesn't want going around his wife and all of that. Jay's known for stopping everything in the fucking industry if he can, if he doesn't agree with it, whether it's him or his wife. So, just saying. Also, you know, the female rap game pointed out, stop supporting Beyonce if you are a barb. Her and her husband move as a unit. It doesn't matter if she is sitting there sending Nicki flowers every single fucking morning. Her husband has a problem with Nicki. Beyonce has a problem with Nicki. She does stuff strategically, either so that she can snake you or so that she can publicly make it seem like she's not a part of whatever the fuck is going on. But trust and believe, she is just, her hands are just as dirty as her husband's when it comes to anything that he does to anybody in this industry. So, you know, you can't, it's just so weird because it's like people be like, I hate Jay-Z, but I love Beyonce. And I'm like, you do know, like, birds of a feather flock together, right? Because if I'm married, my husband's not fucking with people and starting shit with people that I'm cool with. You're not gonna go mess with some, you know, bitch that I like's fucking business. Because we're gonna have an argument about that. Okay, we need to be on the same page about who we do and don't fuck with. Just saying. And the thing is that y'all know the two of them teamed up to stop Carrie Hilson's career and other people's careers. So why would you think that they're anybody that could be trusted with any other person in the industry? Like, y'all see, it's Usher's night, and she can't even let him just have his whole night by himself. She has to drop, you know, the country music that nobody gives a fuck about and nobody asked for. So, country looks horrible for her. Okay, so let's talk about this. Do you guys like the songs? Did you listen to them? I don't listen to country music, and if I do, it's like Johnny Cash, Dolly Parton, Patsy Cline, like real ass, like old country music. Like Grand Ole Opry era, like country music. Like this new stuff is just so poppy that I'm like, I'd rather just listen to pop music. It's just not my thing, anyways. But I would also give, if K Michelle actually fully drops her country music album, I will 100% listen to it. Because I like K Michelle as an artist. I know that this is something that she's been extremely passionate about. And I do feel like she would kind of blend more of that like old school Grand Ole Opry type country that I like into it. So I would give her a shot, but I just, I don't know, man. It's like, I just have such a hard time making myself want to listen to anything that Beyonce puts out anyways. And then you put out music that I'm not really into anyways. And I'm just like, it's like a chore to make me sit there and try to listen to it. That's how I feel about listening to Lil Baby and mumble rappers too, though. So, yeah, I don't want to risk my soul either listening to her music. See, she's a snake. She publicly supported Taylor Swift Eras movie just for Jay to shade her at the Grammys. Exactly. And that's what I said. She does shit on purpose where it's like, let me, like, they think that they're like tricking people into playing, that they're doing the bad cop, good cop routine, right? And it's like, but if I was with somebody and my man had a problem with every fucking person that I like, don't you think that that would translate into us having problems? Because at some point you're gonna be like, stop fucking with all my friends. What's wrong with you? So they sat up there and leaked Rihanna's album. Exactly. If I want to listen to country, Sheryl Crow is my girl. Well, this is my thing too, okay? Dolly is one of your favorite country girlies. Dolly is everything, man. You guys didn't think it was that bad. You like 16 Carriages. It's catchy and she made it about everything she's contributed to the industry. What has she really contributed to the industry though? Honestly, what has she really contributed to the industry? Because she didn't introduce Afro beats to anybody or African music. Well, we all were already on that time. She jumped on that train to capitalize off of it. We all knew and had our favorite house music artists. Shout out Azalea Banks. And Big Beat is my shit. I love that song so much. But shit, we had Taylor Dane in the 80s. Like, we've had all of this stuff. Like, she hasn't given us a goddamn thing that we didn't already have. Except for ruining other people's careers and trying to blackball them and hold them back so that she could be number one because of her fucking ego. Oh my, listen. Let me tell you something, okay, because you just said, I heard she may be sampling Dolly Parton, which if she does, Jolene. Okay. I don't think that Beyonce wants that smoke, because let me tell you something, okay, and times might be different in some areas, but I don't think that they're that different when it comes to country music. People had enough of a fucking problem with Whitney motherfucking Houston remaking I Will Always Love You, because that was Dolly's song and how dare you touch it and all of that. And Dolly had to go out there and tell everybody that it ain't her song anymore and it belongs to Whitney now. And she don't ever want to sing it again because she's going to sound horrible in comparison for people to back down. So, and then who's always singing Dolly Parton that everybody just absolutely loves in the mainstream and has a daddy who is super fucking popular in country music? Miley Cyrus. So, can you imagine the shit and the comparisons that they will make if Beyonce retouches any of Dolly's stuff? Just saying. I don't think that it's something that she should do because I think that she will get shredded for it. Well, this is the thing. Oh, Beyonce is definitely competing with Taylor Swift. Like, we've been talking about that in Patreon for like a couple years now. That she sees her, because do you guys remember when it came out that Taylor hit billionaire status with her tour? Then immediately after, all of a sudden, they want to tell everybody that Beyonce's tour officially made her a billionaire. But supposedly her daddy and Jay-Z said that she was already a billionaire before that. So, like, and they were trying to compare and make it seem like her tour sales were as much or more than Taylor's. However, people on the internet have done the math and we're like, that is statistically impossible because Taylor played bigger stadiums. She went on more tour dates and she's still not done with that tour. And then they averaged out like the ticket prices and stuff. And they were like, Taylor basically doubled what Beyonce would have made off of her tour. So it was just PR BS and impossible for those numbers to even be correct. And so, not to say that she didn't like have an extremely successful tour and make money, but it's just she didn't make the money that they were claiming that she did just because they wanted to, you know, pen her up there with Taylor. So listen, Miley has an amazing voice and she's really good at not only her own stuff, but being able to take other people's music and do covers of it that like does justice to the song while still allowing her to like showcase her vocal abilities too. Like, I loved Miley's Happy Hippie Backyard Sessions because that was where she did like a shit ton of covers and stuff, and like she killed it. And that's hard to do. Like, it really is hard to like cover other artists' songs and not come off like a really cheap, poor imitation of that artist, or to have people hate the version that you made. But this is the thing that Beyonce honestly needs to do. And this goes back to the same stuff that we were talking about last week with the hair care. You know, I saw all these people over the past week since we did that video talking about they have no idea what this hair care line is even supposed to be for. Because they're like, you have straight-haired white people and Asians that have silky straight hair, you know, in the commercials. You wear wigs all the time, and the wigs that we've seen you been wearing other than the Super Bowl look dry and nasty as fuck anyways. So it's like, people were like, is this for white people hair? Is it to wash your wigs with? Like, what is this? And I've seen like so many people that do have natural hair saying that they're really doubtful that it's gonna work for them. So she's always, you know, we were talking about how she's just like all over the place when it comes to the brand stuff, and that she's never really created a brand for herself or set herself up as an actual brand the way that Rihanna has, or other celebrities who've been successful in business. Same thing with Kanye. Think about when you think about Kanye. Outside of, he's crazy and he says wild shit and his wife is always naked. But when you think about Kanye's brand, what do you think of? Mega superstar producer and artist and fashion, right? Like, it's just automatically music and fashion comes right to the forefront because that's how Kanye has branded himself. And he's done a good job of it. So Beyonce hasn't really done that for herself, but she's also like taking that scatterbrain energy into her music career. And I understand that she thinks that she's like gonna go down as some legend because she conquered every area of the music industry. But this is why I tell you guys, she ain't the superstar that anybody claims that she is. Because Adele does not need to go off and go try to be a rapper next. Celine Dion never went and tried to be a country music singer instead, or go make Spanish folk music or something. They stick in the lane that they know that they're good at, and they always continue to grow and develop as an artist within that genre. So this tells you the robot knows that she can't compete and be seen as number one and the legendary superstar if she's stuck in her lane of R&B, because everybody's always like, well, she's not really the best vocalist. And so it was like, well, let me go run around and bully people and try to dominate every other genre too, and try to get my accolades and my flowers that way. And it's not going to work out in the long run for her. It's just everything is coming across as messy now. And people are like, what is the direction and who are you anymore? So she's losing people, She still has her core fan base. But for the rest of us, we're kind of just like, what is going on, girl? I don't know which direction you're going in. And I don't like any of them. She's only selling it online. You don't even have a chance to try it at Target or something. Because, listen, I watched a whole video from somebody that, like, formulates, like, and help, like, they helped create Kylie Cosmetics and some of these other brands. And what they were saying is the reason why a lot of these brands start off only doing online, especially when they are a bigger name that you would think that they could just immediately like get more of a distribution deal and be immediately like in stores, because you're a Kardashian or you're Beyonce. It wouldn't be that hard for you to go get a partnership with Ulta or Target or Walmart or CVS or wherever else, because Kenya Moore has done it. Tracy Ellis Ross was able to do it. Tabitha Brown did it. These are all people that have their hair care lines too that immediately went into the stores. But the reason why they don't do it is because, number one, they can test the market basically. We'll make 10,000 bottles of shampoo to start and see, do those actually sell out? How quickly? And then when we do our next drop, we'll see how many more return customers come, and we'll see what the reviews have been like online. And then if it does shit, you drop it and you don't do it again, and it's minimal like loss. But then if it does pick up steam and become well, then you later on go and start those negotiations, because for you to be in certain stores, like, you have to give them so much of the profits, and you have to promise them that you are going to be able to maintain a certain level of sales. Like, that's why we saw like a lot of influencer brands that went into Sephora and then ended up right back out of them again, because they couldn't sell enough for Sephora to want to keep them as a vendor in their store. It's like they do good enough online, but in store, it's not enough because you have to keep a certain number of sales because Sephora has a 12 bazillion brands that want to be in their store and they only have limited amount of space. So they have to, you know, be choosy and pick the shit that's going to like do good for them because they have a vested interest in it. So that's why people always start off online if they're not confident in what they're doing when they're at like a Beyoncé or a Kardashian type of a level. So Renaissance isn't even a grower album, right? I mean, you know what's crazy too is if you go look at like the top 10, because I know like the charts were getting reposted everywhere because everybody was talking about, you know, how Piss fell right off the charts, which I told you guys it would. But because of that, I was just looking at the charts and I noticed that like a lot of the songs that like got into the top 10 this like last week, they've been out for like a minute. Like they had to grow. Like the Jack Harlow song, like I know like everybody's like, oh, it's number one, but I was like, it took a minute to get to number one. Just like that Doja song, like took a minute to make it to the top 10 also. So I think that also shows not everybody is in that like microwave pop tart like cycle with music the way that the industry thinks it is because of social media. Because, you know, to them, they'll have people like the Coil Rays. Okay, put out another single every single fucking week. You just dropped an album last month. Put out an EP, you know, because it's like you always got to keep having something going. But there are still albums and songs out there that us, the general public, will listen to and still discover later on and build that thing up over time the way that it used to be. Because guess what? Back in the day, a lot of the songs that are your favorites or that you like know to this day, they didn't immediately hit number one or even the top 10 when they were released. Sometimes it took them like 50 weeks to get to the top 10. Oh, of course, Sana. I mean, all of her stuff is crap. So, anyways, let's see what Spirit and the cards have to say about this. Let's see what they have to say about how it's going to do. Because I feel like she's going to have a really fucking hard time with this. Oh, I know. But I know, Kolmika, it is crazy because Black people invented every genre of music that's popular these days. You know, R&B, blues, rock, country, pop, hip hop, but the country music space is still unfortunately extremely racist. And I mean, look at, didn't that one guy, Morgan Wallen is the one that had the racist like issue, right? Because I remember like everybody being like, oh, he needs to get canceled because he was seen on camera saying like a bunch of N-words. And that man is in the top fucking 10 on Billboard every single time I look. And I'm like, well, that didn't hurt his career whatsoever. Now, did it? And the thing is, too, you guys think about it. Okay, Hootie and the Blowfish, right? What's his name? Is it Darius? The front man, Hootie as we all used to refer to him as. Those same white people that have been so racist and hated on him for trying to cross over into country music were the same people that fucking loved him when he was in Hootie and the Blowfish and were playing all of his music. So it was like, well, you can make kind of white music, but you can't make what we consider to be white music. And it's just, there is such a weird double standard that they have in that genre, and I think that's also what turns me off from wanting to ever listen to it or support it either. Exactly. Darius Rucker, yes. Okay, thank you, Kay. Hey, D, I'm glad you made it. Lil Durk did a feature with him. Oh my God. And let me guess, that was just so that way he could say, look, I'm not racist. I worked with a black guy, right? Because they love to do that. It's like, serial killers have friends too. What? They got mad because he had a gay couple in his video, so they tried to cancel him. See, that's what I'm saying. There's plenty of gay cowboys out there, so I don't know what they think that they're accomplishing by hating on gay people. Oh, of course. That's why I said she could have waited until next week. I mean, do you guys notice? When's the last time that y'all have seen one of Robot's songs be #1 on any chart? Or even make it very high up on any chart? Like, that's also what's, like, interesting to me is that, you know, when people want to act like her and Taylor are each other's competition right now, and it's like, but Taylor's always on the charts, though. So at least, like, her winning, like, album of the year makes sense because people actually listen to it, apparently, versus something that nobody cared about and didn't make any charts that I saw. And if they did make a chart, it was like, what's popping in Wisconsin? You know, like, I saw that they were trying to do that shit for Mucus for Piss. Oh, it reached #1 on this rare chart in Bulgaria on freaking some platform that nobody else outside of Bulgaria uses to stream music. Like, that's just like when they make up like these fucking awards and it's like the soft soap woman of the year award and give it to Latto, and it's like, that award didn't even exist last year. Y'all made that shit up because her label needed to buy her an award. And it's like, okay. I mean, nobody's running around and being like, don't diss Latto. She's the soap woman of the year. She's got some serious stuff going on, guy. Like, the way that they just make shit up for people sometimes, like, cracks me up. Yes, they all do, Hannah. You hit that spot on. They all have way better music than hers. Haven't seen a #1 in a while from her. Robot got the same bots as the duds in the comments that never buy their music. Exactly. Pink Friday 2 sold 1 million units faster than Renaissance, but her fans always got something to say. I've always thought that Rihanna had, like, better music. I mean, think about it. Rihanna put out so many more iconic singles that, like, we would probably all want to listen to today versus, like, songs that we really think of as, like, iconic Beyonce songs. And a lot of the iconic Beyonce songs are very, like, I don't know, they kind of like have to fit in a certain box for a certain occasion, right? Like, I don't know about you guys, but I mean, I don't like the song Single Ladies anyways. I always thought I was just like, the second that song came out, I was like, this is a song that they are going to annoy us with for the rest of our lives. It is going to be one of those things that gets so fucking overplayed. And I was spot on. It's like the way that I am with Tupac's California Love, Single Ladies is like right there under it. So, but it's like, think about, you know, just Single Ladies. When are you really sitting in your fucking car listening to that song a lot? Probably not, but you'll dance to it at somebody's wedding or their bridal shower because it's kind of become like that niche thing that it's like, okay, you play it when somebody's getting married, but like you're not playing that every day the way that like you would with like, I don't know, any Rihanna song, Umbrella, Disturbia, S&M. Shit, Unfaithful. Like, I'll sit in my car, I don't want to do this anymore. Singing along to that fucking song at the top of my lungs. I am not a cheater and I never have been, but girl, I will be in that car making up an imaginary affair in my head that I am in the middle of with my imaginary husband, not wanting to break this man's heart, singing along. So I'm just saying. Makes you think of the Sex and the City scene, right? A bunch of old ladies. With the jazz hands. The songs we sang as 90s teens, right? I used to be in my room having so many like fake breakups with people singing along to the music. Megamind knows how to choose a freaking song. She may not write or sing that great, but her ear for music is top notch. Well, let's shout out to Esther Dean. Because she was a huge part of a lot of those Rihanna songs that we ended up loving. And shout out to Ryan Tedder from One Republic because he wrote a lot of the songs that people love so much from Beyonce, like Halo. One Republic's a like good ass group too, though. I actually, when I want to listen to white people music, I will listen to some One Republic. I'm not really a Coldplay girl, but One Republic will always get me. I love me some Ryan Tedder, and he's actually cute for a white boy too. So Esther did all the hard work, but Rihanna sounded good. Esther Dean is that girl. She is. Yes, Linda Perry too. She was definitely a songwriting legend and really helped create a lot of the big songs for a lot of those pop girls in the early 2000s. And she worked really heavily with Pink and Christina Aguilera too. But Esther Dean is not appreciated enough. Neo wrote a shit ton of songs for Beyonce also. I remember that. And people forget the whole drama that happened with Neo and Beyonce because he wrote that song, shit, what was that song called? To the left, everything you own in the box to the left. He wrote Irreplaceable. That was the name of it. And yeah, he wrote that song and he like she tried to act like she fucking wrote it. And then they try to be like, oh, well, she wrote some parts of it. No, because Neo was originally going to release that song himself. And then he decided, no, this sounds better from a woman's perspective. So any of the writing that Beyonce did on that song was changing it from him to her. She was just changing pronouns. Yes, and he came out and tried to tell the truth, and then he leaked his demo version of it, and people were saying that his version was a million times better and it wasn't even cut or mixed because Neo has a good ass voice. Like, let's give him that. And her and Jay tried to get him canceled and blackballed out of the industry because he defended himself and was like, bitch, no, I wrote that shit. That was my song, and here y'all can listen to me sing it the way that I wrote it. And it literally, well, because then he went and backtracked because he didn't want to lose his career. Because he wasn't about to be, you know, the next Carrie Hilson. So, but that's the shit that sucks so much is when you guys think about it, like Robot and Camel, P. Diddy, like any of these people like this, they were such like Tony Soprano, like mafia, like boss, like I'm gonna just bully my way into stuff that so many people like would just acquiesce to them or take shit back or not speak up because they were so scared because they saw other people get fucked over, like Neo and Carrie Hilson, for speaking up and defending themselves, that everybody else was scared and didn't want to become the next one that had to deal with that. And that's why like they've been able to run unchecked and rampant through the industry and create so much chaos. And you know, in the case of like somebody like Diddy, hurt so many people because nobody ever stopped them. And the thing that sucks is it's like I get like when you are like say a Neo or a Carrie Hilson and you are going up against Beyonce and Jay-Z by yourself. Yeah. Like you probably don't want to like have to like be the person that tries to take them on, and you're probably not going to win. But this is why I tell you that this goes to show how complicit and fucked up and evil all of these people in this industry are, because you're going to tell me that there's nobody bigger than Jay-Z or Diddy who could have come in and been like, no, shut this shit down. You're not going to fucking be like that and you're not going to do this shit. No, because they were freaking groomed them and raised them to go be a worse version of them. It's like Saddam Hussein and his sons. The people of Iraq were more scared of Saddam Hussein's sons than him. Because they were like, the devil raised those two boys. So now we got to deal with Lucifer and Satan. And because they've always been evil versus their dad, who became evil later. They grew up being evil and unchecked. They're going to be worse. And they fucking were worse than their dad. So it's the same shit. So it's like whoever fucking groomed them and raised them up and is their boss and handlers is the same type as they are. They all are. Oh God, the Beehive is targeting a radio station for not playing Beyonce's song. The amount of artists that were blackballed due to Robot and Camel Face is wild. Exactly. The younger versions of Clive Davis and Quincy Jones. Well, that's what I'm saying, because that's who their handlers were. That's who raised them and trained them and let them think that this is how you behave in this industry. So, oh boy. You guys get ready because I feel like this country album is also setting the stage for Beyonce to wrap things up and leave Jay. Like, there's Easter eggs in these songs about not being able to take this marriage that I'm in anymore. Not being, like, you know, and it's kind of almost like Lemonade Part 2, but rather than it being where Lemonade was like, I so desperately just want you to see me for who I am and finally love me. And then when you did, now we can be together again. Because, come on, that's what the fuck that whole fucking album basically was. I did all kinds of witchcraft on you and your side hoes. you got scared and ran back. And because of that, now we're going to go shit in everybody's faces and be like, look, bitch, I won. You didn't get my husband. So, you know, now it's been what? How many years has it been since Lemonade dropped? Like 8 or 9 years? 1 second, guys. Let me fix this real quick too, because I accidentally stepped on my charger. I'm gonna turn on the air because it is hot as shit in my house. This sweater is not thick at all, but it just is hot. And I want to change it, but I don't know what else I would put on instead. So anyways, but it's like, you know, now it's like, okay, whatever. Like, I've just outgrown you and I've outgrown this marriage and I'm bored and I'm tired with it. And I fell out of love with you after so many years of you just being a cheater and a loser and everything. So we'll get some Easter eggs for that, because Jay's coming up as no longer having control over her and being upset by this. Not so much being upset because you lost your wife, because this marriage has just been a brand at this point anyways for a while now. But because the Two of Cups comes up in reverse, and with the Moon card and the Justice card flanking Robot as the Queen of Swords, it is talking about like she's plotting, like she's ready for this. She has talked to people about this. He is not aware of this. So they definitely know that she knows for sure that something bad is coming for him. And we need to get out and separate myself. And so we're in the process of beginning to do that, to lay that groundwork. Because I can't just let him get canceled and then file for divorce the next day, because that's going to look like I was somehow complicit in it. But if it already seems like I was already on my way for divorce, and then God forbid the shit hits the fan before I was able to file, everybody's like, well, she was already going to anyways, and it's different, if that makes sense. So that's what's going on there. So this is about not only trying to conquer all of these different, you know, genres and come across as like, I dominated country music and I dominated this and I did that, and look at me, I'm so great and I'm the #1 legendary musical genius of life. It is also about, you know, the plotting and the planning so that you can separate yourself from your husband and move on and move forwards. Money is coming up as a humongous concern for the both of them, especially if they separate, because I've been telling y'all they don't have the money that they try to be making themselves out to have. And again, if you are as rich as you claim you are, why are you bitching back and forth with the fucking IRS over $1 million and some like tax penalty? That's like me fighting with the IRS over some $2,000 tax penalty that they put on me. I'm just like, whatever, just take part of my YouTube earnings until it's satisfied. I'm not even going to go back and forth with you because I don't give a fuck. So I'm just saying, like, I'm a normal person, and they said that I owed them like $11 from state taxes from 2011, and decided to like, didn't even notify me. They just like went after like Google AdSense, and I was like, that's 20% that they take, or whatever, like 10, I can't remember. But I was like, whatever, just take it until it gets paid off. I'm not gonna fight with you. My tax attorney was like, let him do it, who cares? But I'm just saying, I'm not a billionaire. So like, if I'm a billionaire, why would I fight with the IRS over $1 million? Like, why wouldn't I have paid that? And why would I fight with them about it if I'm so rich? Because that's like change to you, right? Do you know? Yeah, that's the sad thing is this is going to benefit her so much because people are literally going to be, I mean, it is showing up that for a time, people will rally around her when she frees herself from Jay just because people dislike him so much that it's like, oh, well, now we can go back to liking Beyonce. But Spirit's saying it's like there's still gonna be a huge disconnect with a lot of people and her. I don't see her coming out and speaking to anybody. Like, she's not gonna do a bunch of fucking interviews about their divorce. Honestly, Spirit's saying if either one of them even does really acknowledge the divorce or say very much about it, it would be Jay talking to Gayle King again. It won't be Beyonce. She'll just, you know, give us another visual album and be like, here, if you want to know what happened, go listen to my music and watch this documentary and buy something, and then you can figure it out for yourself, because that's how she chooses to operate. Like, I don't really see her changing like how she chooses to operate or her business methods a whole lot without him around. That's where I feel like people are going to have the disconnect, because they're going to realize she is not an entirely different person without him. So they can't blame him so much anymore. Imagine he gets with Megan after. He would never publicly claim Megan. Y'all, stop acting like Megan is important to him. And if you guys think that he's fucking on her, he's pimping her out to other people. That's what they do. And guess what? Every pimp sleeps with their bottom bitch too, but it doesn't mean that he doesn't still put her ass out on the street to go earn for him, right? I mean, go watch some of the soft white underbelly Mark Leda videos. Like, you'll figure out how the prostitution game works, and then you'll understand exactly how it works when you are somebody like the horse and you're being trotted around all the time by somebody like Jay-Z. Because a lot of these girls ain't even really rappers, and they ain't making their money off the music industry. They're making it off of being yacht girls. Allegedly, just for entertainment purposes only. We like to get up here and just say straight up bullshit and untrue things because we have nothing better to do with ourselves on Tuesday mornings. Don't sue me. Anyway. Don't be surprised, guys. I'm just telling you. I've always felt like we are going to see Beyonce end up with a white man next. Like a Jack from Twitter type of a white man. So let's see what the reception is going to be of this album. Oh, she really thought that because she was pandering to the white folks that this was going to be what did it for her. This is, you know, listen, again, because I always point out how the Carters have such hypocritical messaging. We're all about Africa and black people, but then right when everybody's calling out Lloyds of London and Tiffany's for stolen blood diamonds, you go do a deal with them. You know, you're supposedly supporting Colin Kaepernick, just go behind his back and sign an NFL deal. So, and say we're not doing that kneeling shit anymore because that's how the Carters operate, right? She can sit there and say all she wants or allow her fans to go tell everybody that this is what the purpose is of these Renaissance acts, that she's taking back the genres of music that black people started. And that sounds great. But what is her true intention? It's about pandering to the white people so she can get album of the year and so that she can put her ass back into that mainstream because she lost so much of the mainstream audience and support. And while she has a great fan base, at some point, you cannot survive off of your fan base alone. You have to constantly be adding new people to that fan base, because people leave, they die, they get broke when you're on your next tour and they have to sit this one out. Or they may not like the album and they're just like, I don't want to go pay $500 to go to a concert and see songs I don't like. So you need, as an artist, to constantly be getting new fans. Just like as a business owner, you constantly need to be getting new clients. You know, while it's great that you have your core base of clients, your core clients are not always going to need to order something from you. You need new clients that are going to keep the income going in and to increase your sales, right? Which, by the way, small business owner here, psychicbellalove.com for your own personal private reading. And you can use code LOVE for 25% off at checkout until Thursday. Happy Valentine's Day. So she's doing this so she can get back a lot of those mainstream people that she lost that just weren't super interested in, you know, the way that she was, or the music that she's been putting out the past few years. And she thinks that she's going to she thinks she's gonna capture that audience back. But this is the thing. This is the thing, Miss Beyoncé. The white community is who started calling you a Satan worshiper first. They're the ones that called out your demonic stuff first. That's why they started shunning you. It doesn't even really have to do so much with like everything else, but that's what started it. So they're going to keep that same energy. This isn't going to work out the way that she expected it to. And there's going to be a lot of race fighting because of this. You know, where people are going to say that they're being racist to her, and then it's going to be a thing, and then Jay-Z is going to be like, oh my God, and try to capitalize off of that. But Spirit's saying they also knew that in the back of their head and were like, we can spin this in our favor whichever way that it goes. We can just point out to everybody, look at how racist country music is. That's why they don't want her. And while that will, of course, play a part in it, I also just see people not responding to this album the way that she hopes. She's not going to get her Grammy of the Year out of this. I'm just telling you this. They will not give that woman Album of the Year until she is no longer with Jay-Z. Whatever album that she puts out after him, maybe then. But as long as she is with him, they will not give it to her. White people don't like her more than the black community. They really don't. And especially if they catch wind that she's going to try to be out here calling herself competing with their little darlings, Miley Cyrus and Taylor Swift. They'll eat her ass alive. Like, let's be honest. Because the white people do not play about their little darlings. I mean, look at what happened to Nicki after she called out Miley. Miley's daddy had freaking Bob Eisner and like people that were like the heads of like all kinds of different companies calling Young Money, calling her all types of bitches and hoes and telling her to shut her fucking mouth and never ever speak about Miley again. Like, you guys don't know how much like Nicki like got like bullied even worse than you guys think by them white executives for going against Miley Cyrus. Because for some fucking reason, they love her daddy and his achy breaky heart. And her daddy must have really spent a lot of time bent over at some of them parties and having the country music version of a freak off. Because I don't know what it is about Billy Ray Cyrus that got him so much fucking pull in country music and just in white entertainment anyways, but he does. Nikki survived because her fan base is crazy. Yeah. So, the country freak offs. they got the. I'm just trying to imagine how they dress for the country freak offs. Do they do like the janty thong where it's like the jean shorts that get cut into the thong? Or maybe that's what Robot's outfit in the freaking the mirrors. That's what they wear to their freak offs, you guys. The big old belt buckles and the freaking the mirror over the crotch. Well, exactly. And Britney Spears is a much better performer too. Carisha in a cowboy hat. Oh my god. Oh, he's definitely a Mason, but I was like, he had to go extra and above, Hannah, because the way that industry like supported him, and I was like, I don't know. I mean, I just thought like he was kind of a one-hit wonder, like with the Achy Breaky Heart era, because like you didn't really hear a whole lot about him after that. And then all of a sudden he pops up on like the Disney Channel, and then it was just like, oh, like, you know, because I know people and people have talked for a long time too, and they said Miley's daddy makes some calls. He's worse than Kris Jenner. And people have no idea. Like, he will make calls and he will get your ass in trouble. And more people will do what he wants than they will for Kris Jenner, is what I've been told. So that's why I was like, he must have been to every country freak off to have that kind of pull and those kinds of friends in high places. I peeped after she said it. That's why Miley was unbothered, because she knew that they had the connects to blacklist her. Exactly. I mean, you know, and hey, listen, again, that Flowers song, that's still sitting on the damn Billboard charts, and it's been on there for like 380 freaking weeks now. So, have I heard of the latest Cyrus family drama? No. I don't really pay like all that much attention to them, to be honest with you, unless it like makes it to like, I don't know, one of the blogs or video or content creators that I watch reports on it, but I don't really like go look up their stuff or anything. So, are y'all commenting because I can only see my comments? What? Sana, I see everybody's comments. Do you guys see each other's comments? So anyways, this ain't gonna do what she thinks it is. So let's move on to Latto and Ice Spice. And once again, if you want to ever make a request for any type of video on my channel, you must join us at patreon.com/psychicbellalove. That is the only place that I accept any type of requests, and my patrons are the ones that choose the topics that we do over here. So, and I just wanted to say, you guys too, I know people keep like commenting, I've seen it on like other people's YouTube channels in the comments, that like they're like, why are you deleting my comments, like to the creators, and the creators keep saying I'm not deleting comments, and then people are getting mad and thinking that they are. Well, first and foremost, it's my fucking platform, and it's any content creator's platform, so like they don't have to keep your comments up if they don't want to. So I don't know why people are so fucking entitled about people deleting comments, even if they are. But I know that like I purposely left comments from like my backup channels on some of my community posts, and like I couldn't see them when I went, like I could see it like so for instance, like my podcast channel, if I left a comment on like the post that I made yesterday about this live today, I would be able to see it while I was on my podcast channel, my comment there. But if I logged into like one of my other YouTube accounts that I have just for uploading client videos, and I go look at that same post, I can't see the comment that I left from my podcast channel. But then when I'm checking from my back end, like it doesn't say that anything is being held for review. But then also sometimes other stuff keeps getting like put in the review thing, even though we already approved it. YouTube is just being really funky lately, you guys. So just go easy on us as creators, because like we can't help all any of this stuff. Like we only have control over what we can do within our own videos that we create. But as far as like the tech stuff or comments not showing up or them demonetizing or suppressing certain content, like we have absolutely no control over that. So I know. I would love it if somebody would like to make an app that can compete here. Nobody really has, though. And the ones that have tried, you know, when they say like, oh, like we have a creator program or whatever, but then they always end up like demonetizing it, or like people complain about like, oh, like that platform is just as shitty or it's worse, or there's this or that going on there. So nothing is ever going to be perfect, right? We just try to work with what we got. TubeBuddy allows you to see most YouTube comments. See, I can't stand TubeBuddy. It used to be great, and I used to use it to tag all my videos, and now it is like the worst fucking app, so I just completely deleted it, so I don't know what it's up to right now. But it used to be a good app. They ruined it. So I like Patreon's platform the best. I mean, it still has its issues here and there, but it's pretty much been the best as far as I'm concerned. So anyways, speaking of Patreon, because I already talked about this part a little bit, so if you're in there, you've already heard this, I'm sorry, but for those who didn't. So I have been watching, because I followed, like I told you guys before, like I followed some Bravo pages just because Dario wanted me to watch Housewives with him. I didn't know what was going on, so I, you know, followed those pages so I could kind of catch up. And some of them, one of them, I don't think she's necessarily like 100% like a Bravo page. Glorified Gossip Girl is her name on Instagram. Great page, check it out. But she also like covers a lot of the like Taylor Swift and whatnot stuff. But I honestly have been seeing on lots of white pages that have been showing up and popping up on my stuff recently. They all really like Ice Spice because they think that she's best friends with Taylor Swift. And because of that, they are mad at Karen, the mistress from Ohio, for coming for their girl Ice. I told everybody at Patreon yesterday, just like everybody else in Hollyweird, they all not only partake in witchcraft, but a lot of them are high priestesses, and they all have their own covens, and Taylor's little girl squad is her coven. So apparently there is something about Isis's energy that Taylor wants for her rituals. So I was like, I don't know, Karen. I don't know if your boyfriend from Britain can Hogwarts his way out of this for you. Maybe you might have fucked with the wrong girl, like I said, when you started with her last year over here. Because what did I predict? I told y'all she needs to leave Ice alone because it ain't gonna work out the way she wants. And so on Super Bowl Sunday, when Latto had to kind of hide because her band was being out public partying and going to Super Bowl parties and gambling in Vegas, so she couldn't even partake in any of the Super Bowl festivities because she's not allowed to be seen in public with him. There is ice in the box that has been well publicized that Travis Kelce paid $1 million for that box so that him and Taylor Swift's families could watch him play in the Super Bowl, and ice makes it into that box where there is limited seats. And also, what a humongous deal that was, because then he won, and what was on the news, and people were even joking and being like, Taylor Swift won the Super Bowl, and Ice Spice was right next to her while she did it. And I was just like, I bet you anything, Karen is on the floor again. She fell right back down onto the floor. She thought she got back up, and she fell right back down again. So, and listen, that was the smartest fucking thing that Ice can do, because look at all the white people that know who she is. Let's just think about this for a second, you guys, because I'm on the first, race plays a part in every single thing in the world. So for people to be scared to ever say, oh, white or black or Mexican or this or that, like, you're delusional. Be fucking honest. Live from a place of honesty. You're not gonna die because you said the black community or the white community. Anyway, because people are always like, I can't believe you talk about race, Bella. I'm like, it affects everything, guys. But think about how much of the white community would have honestly listened to Ice Spice or fell in love with her or even knew who she was because of Munch or Deli or any of her other songs outside of the Barbie ones, right? And she got the Barbie song, obviously, after she had worked with Taylor. So she's making sure that she is well known to the mainstream and the general public. And I know that Karen has tried to do that by working with J-Lo and Mariah Carey, but it hasn't stuck in the same way. And let's just be honest too. Yes, listen, I 100% Latto can out-rap Ice in her sleep. Like, we're always honest over here. But Latto is unlikable. People do not like her. Same thing with Megan that I always say. Megan is not a super likable person. She is not somebody that you can push onto the mainstream. Everybody isn't gonna love her. And we talked about this last week. That's why they push bland. That's why Taylor Swift is so popular and why the industry supports her so much. Because you don't have to be scared that, oh, if she releases an album, they're not going to buy it in China. Oh, nobody's going to listen to Taylor's music in India because she's so offensive. The same way that you have to worry about when it comes to people like Latto and Megan, they're never going to reach a worldwide global superstar status because they're not likable and they don't have mainstream appeal like that. They are very niche and they are very aggressive and over-sexual and aggressively over-sexual, and that turns a lot of people off, regardless of what color you are. So that's why Ice is pulling ahead, because people like her. She's nice. She keeps to herself, she just goes to the bag. She's a hard worker. That's also why she's gonna surpass Carlos, because she's not fucking lazy and she sees her opportunities. and she moves strategically, and she knows that when you are at your height, that's not when you go and sit your ass down, which is Carlos's biggest mistake that she ever made, was that she decided to sit her butt down and think that she was in a place where she could just sit and enjoy the spoils of her success, but that success was bought and paid for. And you can buy all the bots you want, but like you could go buy, you know, I could make a YouTube channel and buy like 5 million bots, and people would come across my videos and be like, who the hell is this girl? But guess what? On the back end, am I making any money if I paid 5 million for 5 million fake subscribers, but I only get 3 views on my videos? No, and I'm not going to get any endorsements when people ask me for my analytics. And they see that my conversion rate is horrendous. And that's why I've always said, if you listen to me, I didn't give a fuck about how many people I have following me. I already have a big platform on Instagram. I care about my engagement rate, and Instagram obviously blackballs the fuck out of me. I've never bought a follower, for anybody that ever wants to say that shit. All of my talking about race, I started on Instagram, and that's why I'm blackballed forever over there. No, I'm on a list. I am on the same list that Rizza Islam was on when they canceled his pages. I know people who work for Instagram. They're like, you will never be unblackballed there because you said all of the things that they don't like repeatedly for a very long time. So I care about engagement. So I don't give a shit that I only have 6,000 followers when I get 50% engagement on some of my videos or even more, because the engagement is what matters at the end of the day. And I mean, please subscribe to me, help the channel grow. The more that my channel grows and the more profitable it is, then the more I can put back into it, and the more that I can afford to be here, because I make more money not doing videos and actually talking to clients than I do doing videos. I lose money by sitting here talking to you guys instead of being available to my clients, but I enjoy it, so that's why I do it. But I'm just saying, you know, engagement is a very important aspect to things, and you have to keep that going. Like, that's why people get scared and they will like post every single day, because they never want to fall out of the algorithm. And, you know, Carlos, she fucked herself like that. She took herself out of the algorithm, and she's never going to get it back. So, and Carlos is definitely falling off. And I've told you guys a million times, Carlos's karma is already hitting her. Because look at how they made such a big deal about how she was going to be in this NYX lip gloss ad. Okay, first of all, this ain't that big of a fucking deal, and it ain't that special. Because it's not like it's Carlos's lip gloss that she's selling with NYX. Like how JT's MAC lipstick, that's JT's lipstick. They're not going to sell that shit unless JT's face and picture and name are attached to it. They can still sell that duck lip oil or whatever the fuck it is 10 years from now, and it's still going to be a mainstay product in their line because it's not Carlos's special product. So not that big of a deal anyways, but at the same time, your ad gets pulled or cut in half or whatever. Nobody was really talking about it. It didn't move anybody. Nobody gave a fuck. I saw a lot of people saying now I can't use NYX anymore. And they're not even people that are barbs. They just don't like Carlos. Or they said that the ad was disgusting and gross and turned them off from the company. So, meanwhile, JT had a whole beautiful fashion show that she performed at. She had the most prettiest, like, PR pictures. She has her own shade of high-end fucking lipstick. Like, they only give those kinds of deals to people that they see are important. Nikki was, you know, one of those girls that got one of those deals. Ariana Grande, like, you know, they don't give them to just anybody. So, but you can go on TikTok and find a billion bitches that have a NYX sponsorship. I could go become a lip gloss creator and get a NYX sponsorship if I wanted to. It's not exclusive and special like that. So that's her karma though, because she's seeing JT is out here. You hated on that girl so much that you called her a lap dog and told her to go play fetch, because we all know that that's Carlos's specialty. Call black women the names of animals, because, you know, that's not racism. I mean, it is when white people do it, and Carlos is a white person, so maybe let's start holding her accountable. But just saying, you know, it's Carlos's go-to insult. Meanwhile, you hated on this girl so much, so now it's your karma that your fucking ad doesn't get to appear. Nobody gives a shit about it. People said you look stupid. People are calling you a fucking alien. And everybody's talking about how amazing JT's music career is going, how much they're excited to buy her lipstick. Like, shit, I might even buy her lipstick, and I never buy any celebrity stuff. And I'm certain that that color is going to look absolutely fucking horrible on me. But I want to support JT. So I'm just saying, like, we will see more and more and more of that, because you think Carlos is over there begging for fucking tampon and pad sponsorships on Instagram and taking every brand deal that she can get her hands on to pay her bills. And she's sitting there watching all of these girls that she so-called didn't like and that she thinks that she's better than, scooping up all of the bags that she thought were supposed to be for her, and her bags are getting smaller and smaller and fewer and far between. So there's her karma. But I'm just telling you guys, it's coming. Carlos was the most awkward part. I didn't see the commercial. I haven't seen it reposted anywhere. And that's the funny thing, is that people reposted so many of the Super Bowl ads, because I guess like a lot of them only aired on like one part of the country, or they only showed like a shorter version of it, you know, where there was like an alternate version or something. And so I've seen like the Beyoncé commercial reposted a million fucking times. I've seen everybody's been talking about David and Victoria Beckham's commercial, but I haven't seen anybody talk about Carlos's NYX ad, other than this when the blogs originally posted that it was going to be cut or not aired at all. And I have yet to see the ad anywhere, anybody talking about it since. Kanye's Super Bowl ad was so cute though. I actually really liked it. Did you guys see it? And I'm not just saying it because it's Kanye. Like, I think I would have honestly liked that commercial, like, regardless, just because. But Kanye's so, like, unintentionally funny sometimes, because he's just like, I spent all the money on this spot, so we don't have any money for a commercial, so go to Yeezy.com. Like, I just love it. When he really is just like, yeah, so this is what happened. And then right after that, he kept reposting his wife, so. He really said shout out to Yeezy. Yes, he did. If you guys didn't know, if you go to Yeezy.com right now, and it's YEEZY.com. Shout out to Kanye, because he said that in the commercial, so that's why I said it like that. Everything on there is $20. Like, I'm gonna go back on there and honestly order everything else that I didn't get yesterday, just because. And if you previously bought the pods for $200 and you email them, they'll refund you the difference. And that goes for everything that's on the site. If you paid more, they'll refund you the difference. So what? Vultures is actually really fucking good. Like, if you guys haven't listened to Vultures, go listen to it. It's like a badass album. They still didn't get everybody cleared, but Vultures is supposed to be like 3 separate parts. So from what I saw, somebody that worked in like the studio with them on it, I think it was from like the production side or something, commented on one of the Kanye pages and said that they're still working on getting it cleared. So if they can, it'll end up on one of the other projects. That was the one I was so excited about. It's because I was like, Kanye remixed a Backstreet Boys song? Like, that's like so iconic. Because we're so used to like, okay, like, not that we didn't have like our era, especially during that time, like especially when Kanye first came out, that we didn't have like people like Kanye and Nicki like doing features on pop songs, but he completely remixed a whole pop song to turn it into a rap song. Like, that's different, and I was really excited about it because I was like, only Kanye could make something like that really sound so cool. Love the shout out to Chris in his song Carnival. Oh, Kanye is definitely going to end up a billionaire again, for sure. So, Chris's singing was so deep and beautiful. No, Nicki didn't clear it, Lorna, so they said that I don't know what's going to happen with New Body. I don't know. The Easy fan pages were just like, keep it, we don't care anymore. So nobody's really like that interested in it at this point. You've been listening to Usher nonstop since the Super Bowl. Did you guys like his performance? I was going to do a quick general pull on Latto and Ice and see what Spirit has to say about it. And then we'll get to Larsa and Marcus because I got to wrap it up. I still haven't watched. I was doing Valentine's Day readings for my patrons and trying to get all those uploaded and sent out. So, like, I completely forgot, to be honest with you, that the Super Bowl was even going on. And so I was like, oh, like, after I record all the videos that I went on Instagram and started scrolling around, I was like, oh, I forgot to say it's the Super Bowl. And then the only reason why I knew that, like, the Chiefs won, although I already knew that's who they were gonna pick to win, because go to Patreon for more information on this, but babes, it's never a coincidence, it's never an accident, and it's never because of God or excellent playing. When any team wins any sporting event, they've already decided who's going to win before every single game anyways. But because I live in the Bay Area Peninsula, I just heard people outside, like, literally all of a sudden, fuck the Chiefs! Fuck the Chiefs! And I was like, okay, I guess the Chiefs won. And then I opened up Yahoo News 10 minutes later, and yep, the Chiefs had been announced as the winners. So I was like, man. You just saw her pretend to play guitar. Guess what? Most of the time, none of those people's, like, playing of instruments, especially on a Super Bowl stage, are ever real anyways. Like, it's pre-recorded and they're not even plugged in, you know, and they're just like la 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 la, pretending like they're like playing the keyboard, but really, like, Alicia Keys' fingers never actually touch any of the piano keys or whatever. And it's the same reason why they don't sing live during those shows all the time either, because either the weather or just because of the time constraints or because it's such a big show that you can't risk the piano is out of tune or a guitar string snaps. So as much as you see people running around sweating and making it look like they're really like actually singing it, they're usually never actually singing it. And they're sweating because they're under a bazillion lights and running around. Y'all thought Mayo was gonna date the loser. What is she gonna write about in her next project? Well, listen, don't ever forget that only, like, what was it, a month before we saw Travis Kelce was supposedly chasing after her and going to her concerts with friendships bracelets. He was talking to Megan Thee Stallion. And that's why I was just like, that alone lets you know that Taylor is not that man's type, first and foremost. And secondly, he was just looking for PR relationships. And honestly, he should be thanking his lucky stars that Taylor agreed to be in this PR relationship with him, because it has done wonders for him. But also, then he didn't get trapped having to pretend to date Kendall or Chloe. Because you know that Chris was throwing her kids' names in that hat when she heard that Travis Kelce was out there looking for a PR relationship. She was like, listen, I got a bazillion kids. You pick one. You want Courtney? I'll make her and Travis Barker get a divorce real quick. I don't give a fuck. Chris don't play about her kids, okay? She's going to take every opportunity. Make a whole season out of Courtney broke up with one Travis to date the other one, and all the drama that ensued from that. But when you think about it, it's just like, even if these were legit dating situations, right? And he's just a single guy out there flirting his way through Hollywood, having a good time, to go from Megan Thee Stallion to Taylor Swift is a real wild fucking turn. That was a crazy left turn that he took somewhere along the way. Because how can you like Megan Thee Stallion and then end up dating Taylor Swift right afterwards? They are so different in every single way. I cannot think of one thing that they have in common other than that they're both tall and publicly claim to be women. And that's in the music industry. Other than that, I don't know what the hell they have in common. I mean, we do know Taylor actually is a woman. Just saying. It's Hollywood. People lie and be all kinds of things that they're not actually. Never trust anything. They're all paid actors that are meant to mislead you and trick you into worshiping Satan and getting away from God and your own personal power and spirituality. And just because somebody says they're a Christian or that they're spiritual, they practice blasphemy. Why do you think they stick their tongues out? It's the all-mocking tongue. Meaning, well, we tell you whatever we want you to believe, and you fall for it, and then we laugh at how stupid you are behind the scenes. So, if you want to know more about that, you can go to Instagram, or not Instagram, you can go to patreon.com/psychicbellalove. Like, don't go to Instagram. I mean, you can follow me on Instagram, Psychic Bella Love. I post in the rare times that I do sales over there, but other than that, you might get a meme, but it's really hard for me to ever force myself to make content on a Zuckerberg-owned app ever again. So go to Patreon. But they have victim mentalities. Oh my God. I feel like that's who Travis's real type is black women. So anyways, Latto is gonna really fuck herself over, you guys, pretty soon here, because Ice Spice is going to, she'll respond to Latto, and she will do it in her very typical Ice Spice way. You know, you think you're the shit, you're not even the fart, where she's just like, whatever, I'm gonna make a joke out of it because you're not even like important enough for me to really try real hard to come at you. And then I feel Latto coming back one more time and poking at her. And then that's where we're going to see that Ice Spice can actually rap. And she is going to drag that girl up and down the sidewalk until she is absolutely fucking bald. And she can't even glue a wig on her head for 6 months because her scalp is going to be so sensitive from that dragging. And the sad thing about it is that she is going to make Latto look so stupid, because it's going to be like, how did you let the munch girl eat your ass up and spit you out like that when you're Miss, oh my God, look at me, I can rap, Latto. But again, you know, and on top of it, Ice Spice has the bigger fan base, and she is growing that fan base, and she is growing those, you know, opportunities. And we might see Latto do like 1 or 2 commercials this year that it's like, okay, you did something there, you know, you got a little Fruit of the Loom advertisement or something like that, where you're like, I know that was like a decent bag. It's not the biggest bag, but it ain't a little bag either. But we are going to see Ice Spice get all of the bags, the big bags, the big, big, big bags. Because she's showing up with this 9 of Pentacles energy behind her. Like, I am coming, and I'm coming very hard this year. And doesn't she have her album dropping this year too? Because I honestly feel like that album is going to be really, really, really fucking good. Really good. And don't be surprised if we don't see a lot of big names on her album, because I feel like her working with Taylor was obviously very strategic. I don't know if you guys have seen too, that people like, but they were saying it's cute how they were saying it, and they're like, oh, Taylor Swift hard launched her friendship with Ice Spice at the Super Bowl. Like, nobody can ever question it again. You guys are best friends because you hung out at the Super Bowl. So that obviously like benefits her, because it is showing with this 2 of Cups of making this super beneficial connection to the right person, really being that catalyst to even blow things up on like such a big worldwide level for her. They've been working really hard on this album too, because we have the 10 of Wands behind it. So it's a lot of hard work. Now, as far as Latto is concerned, okay, this 4 of Pentacles is talking about having to hold on to what you have. Like, it's Carlos is in a similar energy where it's like, yeah, you got that bag like we were talking about, but it's not the biggest bag. There's still farther in between than what you want, and what you do get, you have to hold on to, because you can't spend like you want to. You don't know if there's going to be money for a rainy day if you go running around trying to show off like you got it like that. So Latto's going to be really stressed out this year, because I feel things not working out very well for her. Also, don't be surprised if we don't hear about her getting dropped by her label, or there being label issues and her trying to get out of it. Because there's something here about, she definitely signed a bum ass deal and they're not letting her do certain things. And on the flip side of it, from the label's point of view, they don't see Latto as being that profitable to them. So it's like, I feel like this first 6 months of the year is very make or break for her as far as like her label goes. If she gets dropped by them, it'll be like at the very tail end of the year where it's like, okay, we gave you the first 6 months, you didn't do enough. And then the end of the year is trying to get the fuck out of the label or them dropping her because of it. So, and don't be surprised if they don't try to spin it like, oh, all the girls just want to go independent now, you know, and they'll try to act like this and that, which again, Megan, if you were Miss Independent, why do you need to go? Like, anyways, don't get me started. Own a Porsche. I mean, YouTube sucks at notifying anybody, so sorry about that. Yes, Latto got exposed, and there's something else that's gonna come out about Latto too that's gonna have her having to really fight to defend herself and her position, and it's gonna cause a lot of the people that were either fucking with her only because they hate Nikki so much that it's like, oh, we'll fuck with anybody that doesn't get along with her. But on the flip side of that too, it's, you know, like, yeah, now we just can't really fuck with you because you're not who we thought you were and you're a cornball. And it does feel like her getting exposed for like stealing somebody's song and Spirit's talking about it being like complete and outright theft, like how we were talking about earlier that Neo and Beyonce, where it's like you try to make it seem like you wrote this song but really you just changed the pronouns from her to him or whatever. Like, it'll be something very, very similar, and this person's gonna come gunning for Latto like, bitch, you stole my fucking song, nobody gave it to you, I don't know how the hell you got a hold of it, and you're up there saying my shit word for word and have the guts to release this, and that's gonna be a big issue for her. A big fucking issue, because it's gonna be like somebody hacked somebody's iCloud and stole something and gave it to Latto and she ran with it, kind of thing. So I've never seen an independent artist with so many endorsements with big companies when the music is flopping. So watch this be some colorist-ish too. She's not gonna get... Well, that's what you get fucking around during the night here. Yes, you do. And also, I feel like Ice's ancestors are a lot stronger than Karen's. So, last question that I wanted to ask about them, and honestly, guys, I think I'm going to run out of time before I can get to Larsa and Marcus, so I'm going to take them out of the caption, and we'll just add them to another one in the future. Do you guys even care about that? I wanted it, so I was like, I guess, but I honestly don't really think people care all that much, but maybe you guys do. Let me know if you care about Larsa and Marcus. If I have time, I'll just do a separate standalone video for it. If not, we'll add it to another live in the future. I mean, if you guys, let me just tell you the answer right now. How about this? They broke up because of his family. There you go. Because at the end of the day, his family did not want her with them together. They felt like Larsa, you know, because they started talking about getting married and having babies. The second that they said, we're going to start freezing eggs and looking at having babies, was the second that his family was like, okay, playtime is over. Get the fuck away from this bitch before she, like, traps you. And we have to see her at every Thanksgiving for the rest of our life or never talk to you again. There you go, that in. He dumped her because his family didn't want him to be with her anymore. She's going to try to spin it that he cheated on her, did some horrible thing to her, because Larsa always has to be a victim and she never takes accountability for anything. And life will move on and we will see him with some other girl a year from now, and that's probably who he will end up married to instead. Also, people keep saying that he looks like he's holding a secret, and that his secret is that he's really Tyler Perry's kid. Oh my God, when I tell you, I cannot unsee that now. Go look at Marcus Jordan. He literally does look like he could be Tyler Perry's son. Good for Larsa's coochie. She can finally get a breezer. Oh, we don't care. No, we're gonna have to hear that the next guy, she sleeps with him 6 times a day, because wasn't Scotty 4 times a day, and then she said she does it with Marcus 5 times a day. And I just saw people in the comments everywhere like dying laughing, because they were like, I guess having sex 5 times a day doesn't keep a man, does it, Lars? And then somebody said that was the day that he couldn't get it up 5 times, and he actually had to have a conversation with her, was the day that they broke up, because he was like, you know what? If we're not doing it, I can't really actually handle being around you. So he looks like he's holding a secret. That's what people were saying. They said he always looks sneaky and like he's keeping a secret. And then somebody's like, his secret is that he's really Tyler Perry's kid. Yeah, Jordan definitely made that clear, but that's the real reason why they broke up, because of the families. So, alrighty, so the last question that we had is, people are saying that Latto has also been shading Carlos, and that a lot of the little barbs that she's been throwing in her music recently, like, that people either assumed, like, oh, she just said it to say it, or she was going at Nicki or Ice or some other bitch that people weren't aware that she had a problem with. And then other people were like, no, she keeps throwing shots at Carlos, and especially like her marriage. And listen, we all know that Latto has absolutely no respect for the sanctity of marriage anyways. So I wouldn't be surprised. So I just wanted to just ask about that real quick, if there is any sort of issues. Now, guys, are Offcheat and 21 friends? Like, are they cool with each other, hang out, any of that kind of stuff? Because I don't pay attention to either one of those people. And just like if Latto was dissing Carlos in her music, went over my head, because I don't listen to any of Latto's music, so I wouldn't have caught the bar. Oh, Carlos doesn't like any of these girls. She don't like Mucus. She don't like Latto. She don't like Glorilla. She doesn't like any of them. She only cares about herself, and that is it. And Carlos reminds me a lot of somebody that I used to know, where they want to surround themselves with people who are actually talented in their field in order to hide behind them or cosplay as them. And then what happens is they get, Carlos, this other person that I'm thinking of, they get a little clout, and it benefits them for a minute. But then they get jealous, because regardless of whatever place that person may be at in their career or their life, Carlos and como se llama, as in whatever that person's name is, because you'll never hear me say their name publicly. Because we don't give clout to people for free. They get jealous, because it's like, oh, as much as I'm enjoying the benefits of being around you, at the end of the day, you trigger me, because I will never, ever be able to accomplish everything that you will eventually. So then they start getting jealous, and then they become bitter, and then they become haters, and then they try to ruin that person. But they never fully get away with it. You know, and usually people like this, they mess with people that have real strong ancestors behind them too. So they end up getting really fucked. So, you know, Carlos tends to do that. Also, hey, Lamar Townsend, love you, boo. So Carlos is doing the same thing to Latto, and Latto has gotten wins that Carlos has said things about her negatively in the industry to people, and it feels like Off Cheat is the one that was telling people what Carlos was saying about them, or at least was the leak. And then it got back, you know, because it's like, oh, Off Cheat was at some industry party, drunk off his ass, and telling everybody how Carlos hates on every other girl in the industry because he was pissed off. Because I've told you guys before, Off Cheat be spilling and talking mad cash shit about Carlos behind her back, and not only when he's pillow talking. Because a cheating man will go and tell any person that he wants to stick his dick into that, oh, how horrible the wife is at home, whether it's true or not, right? But when you're going and telling your industry peers and your friends and other people who just happen to be at parties that you're at because you're drunk, all kinds of dirty shit that your wife has been involved in, or that she doesn't like them just because you're mad, because he's been known to do that for quite a few years now. And that's why a lot of people don't like Carlos anymore, because Off Cheat let them know that Carlos talks about them. And then he sobers up and completely forgets that he's the one that said it. Yeah, he told Kanye too, just like he tried to make Kanye call Nicki for him so they could get on the phone and piece it up. And Kanye told him to go fuck himself and didn't find somebody else to help him. Kanye was like, bitch, she didn't even clear a new body. You think she wants me to call her so you guys can have a conversation? So it got back to, you know, it got back to her. And she knows, like, Spirit saying neither her or Carlos fucking liked each other anyways. That was just, we hate the same bitch, so we're gonna try to link up and think that we're gonna, like, do something funny or whatever you want to call it, you know, but you ain't, you know, and it didn't really stick in the long run, and it didn't really do anything for either of their careers in the long run. And Spirit is saying she honestly resents, like, Latto resents Carlos, because she feels like I shouldn't have, like, I was too impulsive. Like, deep down inside, I'm not saying that she would ever publicly admit this, right? Deep down inside, she knows I was so impulsive to go run to work with Carlos that was what probably was that nail in the coffin for me. And now I trapped myself. I put myself in this situation where I picked the wrong side and I gotta lay in a bed with a bunch of fleas when I shouldn't have done that, because she feels like, yeah, even whatever happened between her and Nicki with, like, recording the phone call and stuff, it's like I could have still, like, maybe possibly came back from that. But once you, like, go side and link up with Carlos, like, the damage is done, and everybody's gonna be like, no, stay over there. Because even if Nicki forgives you, the Barbs will not. Right? So she resents Carlos because she's, instead of taking accountability for, that's the dumb decision you made. And yeah, you shouldn't have, but you're the one that chose to go run over there Instead, you're blaming Carlos the same way that like the girl will blame the mistress rather than the husband. Like, you should be more mad at your man because he fucked somebody else rather than the girl that let him fuck her, because yeah, they're both messed up, but your man is the one that put you in that position. He's the one that broke his promise to you, not her. You know, but girls will be quick to forgive the boyfriend and take all their anger out on the woman. And so she's doing the same thing in this situation. So we will see those two start going back and forth at each other. Because especially Spirit saying there is something too about Karen where she kind of has it. Because remember how she tried to beef with Koi first before Ice, and that didn't really go anywhere, and then she tried to reignite it later. Like, she's always looking for her next stunt, the next person that she can beef with. So if it's like, oh well, beefing with Ice didn't do enough for me, or it didn't work out in my favor, let me go after Carlos, because she's gonna think Carlos is the low-hanging fruit. The industry isn't supporting her anymore. There's a dog whistle that's been put out in the industry not to really work with Carlos and to avoid her because she's on the sinking ship. And as far as Hollywood goes, there is a real saying that they have that you're only as good as your last project. Like, it doesn't matter if you had 28,000 number ones before that, if your last song, your last movie, your last TV show, whatever that project was, doesn't do good, people are only going to remember you because of that failure rather than all the other successes before it. And then they're less likely to want to work with you because now in their head, oh, you're a failure and I don't want to attach myself to failures because I need to protect my career. I need my career to be on an upward trajectory. Why do I want to tie myself to a dying horse? So Carlos is in that position right now within the industry. Why do you guys think that she keeps working with all these like up and coming or nobody ever heard of them? Because that's the only people that she can get to work with her. Drake ain't picking up her calls. Beyonce sure as shit ain't gonna work with her. Megan Thee Stallion, nothing good came of doing bozos with Carlos. So it's like, what is the point? Right? And so Latto always, if you haven't noticed, tries to, other than Nikki, tries to pick at people that she thinks are lower than her so she can win. So it was like, I'm gonna pick Ice Spice because I mistakenly thought that the industry wasn't gonna take this girl seriously and that she wasn't really gonna go very far, and I overstated my importance once again and thought I had the power to like cancel her, and that didn't happen. Then she tried to do it to Coi Leray, that didn't work. So she's gonna think, oh well, Carlos is fair game, nobody likes her anymore, let me go after her because then everybody's gonna be like, you killed Carlos's career, you won, you're the queen. So get ready, they're gonna fight next too, and Megan Thee Stallion will end up getting in a fight with Carlos. You guys, I will leave you with this one thing. By the end of this year, going into next year, all of the duds will be fighting with each other. It will be like, since somebody loves to compare themselves to Regina George and the Mean Girls, remember when all the girls started fighting before, and then they got pulled into the gym and they had to have that whole trust exercise and everybody had to get involved to stop them fighting? It will be like that when the plastics and everybody else in the school all turned on each other because they were all fighting about Regina George. and the what was the book called? Oh my god, I can't think of the name of the freaking book. The Slam Book, or is that what it was called, or whatever? So it'll be very similar. Everybody's all gonna be beefing with each other because they're all either gonna be I made a mistake in tying myself to you, you stupid bitch. That's why my career isn't going anywhere. Cough, cough, Carlos. Or I gotta tie myself to something because nothing else is working. So maybe people will give a shit if I'm fighting with this person or that person. So, in the burn book, that's what it was called. I couldn't remember for some reason. And yeah, and Nikki's just gonna be on her tour, doing whatever, hanging out with Papa Bear in the backyard, watching him make hoops, laughing. Just wait and see. They are desperate. So instead of the Super Bowl or the Puppy Bowl, it should be the Dead Bowl. Off-sheet will be the Regina George that started all of this. Oh, she totally does, Marie. She 100% does. And that's why I was laughing, because Marie says that Latto has a hatred of Black women. And I was like, yes, she does, just like Carlos. And, you know, that's why I think it's absolutely fucking hilarious that the white community is choosing Ice Spice over her, because they're like, well, we're going to pick Taylor Swift's new friends and we don't really care about you. And I'm just like, she has no community to belong to. Imagine, you guys, and I really gotta go because I gotta call somebody in a minute, but imagine that Megan and Off-Cheat getting beef because she wanted to be the Regina George and he took her spot. And they get a fight over who's the Gretchen Wieners and who's the Regina George. Honestly, I would be really into that. I might actually listen to either one of their music if they started dissing each other, because I think that that would be hilarious. So, wait, Latto said that? Hannah, are you serious? Oh, she's just like Carlos then, damn. Okay, well, I have to go, but on that note, let's all take a lesson from Carlos and Latto. Comparing Black women to animals is racist. Do not do it. Black women are women. They are humans. They should be treated as such. We have respect and love for one another. Shout out to Black women. I love y'all. I will always have your back. So, unlike, unfortunately, my white counterparts, Carlos and Latto, because guess what? We are all white women. So, anyways, guys, if you want to book your own personal private reading, you can go to psychicbellelove.com, and until the 15th, you can take an extra 25% off with code LOVE, all in caps, at checkout. I'm not doing a bunch of sales this year because I never raised my prices when I dropped them originally anyways, and just too much keeping up with all of that stuff. And if you want to join us so that you can hear from me daily, you can head over to patreon.com/psychicbellelove. That's where we do requests. That's where all the Nikki content is. And we have all kinds of exclusives over there, including everything that I've briefly mentioned about the Illuminati. All the details and information is there. And in the meantime, guys, I hope everybody has a good one. I love you all so much. And we will be back next Tuesday as per usual. And in the meantime, remember your ancestors love you. And also, don't fuck with real spiritual people, because our ancestors will fuck you up and then teeth start falling out, all kinds of bad things happen. That's also why we don't appropriate spirits too, but that's a story for another day. Bobby!